What is up, YouTubers? This is Johnza, and welcome back to another podcast. And today, we're actually doing a third podcast in 1 week, technically. Well, I mean, for you guys, it's been a week since the last one. But for me, I've literally recorded 3 podcasts this week, just because this specific topic, I actually know what we're actually going to be talking about today. And just because I just kind of wanted to talk about it, just in general. So, it kind of saves, saves time with the wheel and everything, since we only have only a limited amount of stuff to talk about on that wheel. So, it's good for me to, come up with things on my own and be able to talk to them. So, yeah, before we get into it, I'm going to do a few small little stories. I think there was one I was thinking of. Actually, no, okay, I do remember it now. So, this happened yesterday when I was on my way back from work. I was, almost home, and I see, there's a half... It's like a half of a Pokemon card I see on the ground. I'm like, okay. So I picked it up, and I saw it seemed like a Gigantamax Pikachu card. I think it might have been holographed. I'm not sure. I didn't really have a good look at it. I was like, oh, okay. Stuffed it in my pocket. And the thing is, I would look at it again to describe it for you guys, but I lost it. The thing is, I still had it in my pocket this morning, in my sweater pocket. I felt it while I was, at work. And then while I was at the bus stop, waiting for my ride home today, it wasn't there. So I'm like, well, there goes that. Not that it was, not that it's, worth anything anymore, honestly. If it really was, a good card at one point, it's definitely not anymore. Because it's, literally torn in half. There's only, the bottom half. And it's, crumpled up, too. So, yeah, it's not even that really important. But, just a random discovery I found. And then this morning, apparently, the power just kind of went out for a little bit. It's a short little while this morning. I didn't even realize it happened right away either, because I was already brushing my teeth in the morning. This happened early in the morning too. So I was brushing my teeth, and then I came back to my room to find out that my TV was off, my alarm, my clock was off. And I was like, oh, the power's out. Okay. But, yeah, apparently from what my mom said, apparently it just went on, off, and then completely off for, it wasn't even that long. It was, probably, maybe, 5 minutes, and then it came back on. Yeah, I don't know, it was really weird. And I also heard on the radio, apparently, that everyone had the same problem, too, which was weird. Which I think it was happening at different times, too. Which is kind of a weird thing, because it wasn't even really bad weather out at all today, even this morning. No really bad weather, no rain, no harsh winds, no nothing. So it just kind of shut off for some reason. I don't know why, but it did. Anyways, those are your short little stories from John's here today. And now we get into the main topic, which is not on the wheel today, which it is going to be Pokemon I would like to see in Unite. Now, I actually thought about this yesterday, and that's why I want to actually record one today, because it just kind of happened on my mind. So, yeah, I kind of listed down some Pokemon I think I would like to have in Pokemon Unite, and I wanted to talk about it a little bit, which I will be frank and say that I am gonna base it off, I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. Sorry, I'm just trying to get my list opened, and I'm just distracted by it to not even speak. But yeah, basically all the Pokemon I've chosen are Pokemon I feel that are somewhat possible. Some are goofy, but I feel it could be still possible for them to come in. I'm not gonna really worry about too much with stat wise or what they can exactly do in the game, but I just want them in general. And obviously I'm gonna be realistic with what Pokemon I feel can enter in. For example, really big legendary Pokemon, say Giratina, Dialga, Palkia, any of those guys, I'm already gonna say no, they are definitely not being added in 100% because, well, they're too big. I don't think Pokemon Unite would do that, and if they did, well, welcome back, Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl. If you guys remember in those games, if you had one of your legendary Pokemon follow you, they're literally the size of you. It is they're tiny. That's not their actual size. So there's that. and obviously like obviously any Pokemon are like huge and stuff too. Like Wailord, yeah, no. So yeah, I'm gonna be like realistic on the sizes here, and the order I'm gonna like go through is gonna be from Gen 1 to Gen 9, and yes, I do have some Gen 9 ideas too. Especially since right now in Pokemon Unite there is no Gen 9 Pokemon playable or anything, so that's just why I'm gonna add some ideas into that. Some of them are gonna be in groups, like some that are like similar to the same Pokemon, but could be like added as a whole group or something. Like, like the whole group. Like I think the massive group I have on this list is like up to 4, which we'll kind of get to. But yeah, some of them might be like most of them are like in threes, which some of them are some mythicals at least because I mean hell, we do have like Mew anyways, and we also have Zacian. Well, I mean, I guess Zacian's not a big legendary, because I just kind of realized, like, wait, Zacian, he's in the game. I almost forgot, and, well, I would say that, oh, big legendary, but no, he's not really that big at all, honestly. He's not that big at all. So, yeah. I'm not gonna add in Inteleon and Blaziken, who are not exactly in the game yet, but they definitely are confirmed. It was already announced alongside like the Eevee event with Umbreon and Leafeon coming out, which they're already out, and we already know Inteleon's coming out on the 28th. And I did see some gameplay of Torchic online, so that means Blaziken is 100% going to add it in sometime in the future, so we're not going to worry about that. And I'm also not going to talk about the evolutions, because technically we already have 5 of them out already, and well, let's just face it. Pokemon Unite eventually is going to add in Flareon, Vaporeon, and Jolteon, so we're definitely not going to add them into this list at this very moment. Is there another? Oh, there's actually a set of Pokemon. Let me actually add them to the list real quick, because I just realized some other Pokemon I think would be at least viable if I can find the right thing I want. Just give me a quick sec. I'm just doing this real quick. Alrighty. So, yeah, I guess with that, let's actually get started with the list. So the first Pokemon I have on this list is Nidoking. I think Nidoking would be like a nice option to have in there. It's a nice 3-stage evolution. And I think it'd be kind of cute to see like just a little Nidoran like walking around at the beginning. And of course, once it's starting moves, it could be like what is it, Poison Stain and Tackle, and then maybe later down the road, its final moves would be like Poison Jab, which maybe he can like lunge forward a little bit and do like a punch, and then like Earthquake, which anything like around him can like spring up. So that's a bit of idea. Like I said before, I'm not going to go into too much detail about what the Pokemon can do, but if I have some ideas, then I will make sure to let you guys know. Kind of like how Nidoking here, I was literally thinking about it earlier, just kind of thinking about what I would talk about exactly when I did this earlier today, so yeah, so I think Nidoking would be a good option, and another reason why I think Nidoking would be a good option is because I don't think there's really that many poison types, or any, like, Pokemon in the game that, like, represents poison well, because on the top of my head, the only 2 poison types I can even think of is Venusaur and Gengar, but I more see them for like Grass and Ghost, you know? I see them more as those, and then like I can't really think of any other poison types, so at least Nidoking is like kind of in that category, and I prefer Nidoking over Nidoqueen just because of the purple aspect of Nidoking, so yeah, there's that. My next pick would be normal Ninetales. Like, we already have Alolan Ninetales, but I think it'd be interesting to put in Alolan Ninetales in the mix, too. You know, like, that would be, like, an interesting thing, kind of like, because, I mean, if you're gonna bring in the same species of Pokemon with Eevee, like, why not do it with the different forms, too? Like, you could literally have an Alolan Vulpix and a normal Vulpix kind of, like, team up, you know? Team up in a match or whatever, so, you know, that'd be kind of cool. The next one would be Alakazam. I, honestly, with this choice, I just feel like Alakazam has a good chance of actually getting into Unite eventually, just because it's a pretty well-known, like, Pokemon, and quite popular to some people. Like I could definitely say it's like probably one of the strongest psychic types out there, especially for like an OG fan. Like honestly, Alakazam would be pretty good, honestly. Next, I put in Golem. Now, Golem's not as popular as Alakazam, but I feel like Golem could use a bit more love in the community. I mean, hell, I don't like in the two previous games of like the newest edition of Generation games, in Sword and Shield, like you can't get Golem at all in that. You like no Geodude, no nothing in that game. And so far in Scarlet and Violet, we can't either. I mean, I guess it depends with DLC, but still. But yeah, Golem hasn't really gotten a lot of love, honestly, in the thing. And I feel like he should. Like he's a very underrated Pokemon, honestly. The only love that Pokemon ever gave for him was when Gen 7 came up and he got his own Alolan form, but still, since then, he hasn't gotten really much love, so, you know, I feel like he'd be a good choice for that. My next pick would be Muck. Once again, reasoning because of lack of poison types. I feel like Muck would be kind of a fun, goofy one to put into the mix too. Like, you know, I mean, you have like Slowpoke, so why not have another goofy one like Muck? I think Muck would be pretty cool. Like, you could have like Sludge Bomb. Like, I think Venusaur already knows like Sludge Bomb or something, but you can have like Muck learn it too. So that would be kind of cool. The next set I have is technically the Hitmon family, which, I mean, they could add in one at a time, like obviously not all three at once, but kind of like how with the Eevees, they started off with Sylveon, then they added like Glaceon, Espeon, and then recently Umbreon and Leafeon, and they're obviously going to add the others later. They can kind of do the same with these guys. And plus, they're pretty good with fighters. Like, I feel like a lot of fighting type Pokemon could make a good chance in here. So I think the Hitmon family would be good. So like Hitmonlee, Hitmonchan, and Hitmontop. If anything, if Pokemon the Pokemon Company only decides to put in like one of them, honestly, I feel like my main or the main one I think would have a good chance to enter in would be Hitmonchan, honestly. But that's just my opinion. I will say before we go on, this is only my own opinion. You guys can hate on it if you want, but these are all my opinions. They're not even 100% confirmed, so just bear with me, alright? They're just what I think would be kind of cool to enter in, and Pokemon I would like to see in, and possible, so, you know, just before you go roast me in the comments. But yeah. But anyways, that kind of covers it for Gen 1 Pokemon. Now we move on to Gen 2. Which, the first Pokemon I have in mind is Feraligatr. Now, honestly, any of the trio of Gen 2 would be okay, but honestly, I think Feraligatr is probably like my favorite of the three. I feel like Typhlosion would also have a good chance to enter in in it as well, because they seem to like the Hisui starters, which, you know, Typhlosion is one of them. And well, that's another thing with Typhlosion. If they do decide to add Typhlosion, they could do like a version one. They could come out first with like the Hisui Typhlosion, and then maybe the normal one later. Like they could add both at some point, but I don't know. I just didn't add them onto the list because I don't know. I didn't want to add too much to the list, so I just kind of regretted or put aside the Hisui starters section, especially since I guess that's like kind of 6 in a group. So you know, but if any of the Gen 2s I would like to have come up, it would be Feraligatr. Meganium I would also like, because I'll also say this, for the amount of starters there are in the game already and what's to come, once Blaziken comes in, we're already going to have like 4 fire starters in Pokemon Unite, which that being Charizard, Cinderace, Delphox, and Blaziken. With Inteleon now coming in, we have Blastoise, Greninja, and Inteleon, so that's 3. And then so far, not even any announcement of another grass starter yet. We have Venusaur and Decidueye. And those are the only 2 for grass, so if anything, I would like to see another grass starter come in at some point, but, you know. I'll talk about, I have a few grass types I would like in mind, so yeah, that's why I kind of more picked Feraligatr to be one of the starters for Gen 2 at least, so, you know. Another is Crobat. I feel like Crobat is also a little underrated, and I don't think. Uh, I don't know. Wait, in Gen. Maybe? I don't know in Sword and Shield if it did come around. I actually don't know. But I definitely know, like, at the start of the game, like, before the DLC for Sword and Shield came out, I don't think Crobat or Zubat or Golbat were in the games. I might be more thinking of Pokemon Legends of Arceus, maybe, because I definitely know they're in that. Um, and I don't, and I know for a fact that they're not in Scarlet and Violet yet. But I think once again for Poison type reasoning as well, I think Crobat would be a nice little thing or a nice little Pokemon to add in. I mean, if anything, any like flying type that like normally just flies normally, I guess would be a good option. Like we have a few flying types. We have like Talonflame, Charizard, and Dragonite. But I feel like we could have some more flying types eventually. So I think Crobat would be a nice little touch to it. Um, Next up is Heracross. I think Heracross would be a nice little addition too. And if you want to like counter out as well some of the bug type, well, I mean that's also one of the reasons why I picked Heracross in the first place because Scizor is already in the game, and since Heracross is the other bug type in Gen 2, like, I guess you could say the opposite bug type of Scizor, I guess, I think he would be a nice little fit into the Pokemon Unite, which I guess you can say the same thing with Pinsir, too, since I definitely know, since I've been playing Diamond and Pearl lately, like the originals, well, is it maybe or maybe it was another game. I don't know, but I definitely know in one game that you can capture like Heracross, but not in. It was Black 2, right? Black 2, because I was watching someone's Let's Play of it that they're going through at the moment. But yeah, in like one version you can catch Heracross, and another version you can catch Pinsir. So, you know, Pinsir would be a good idea, but if anything, I would rather Heracross, honestly. I just like him a bit better. But, yeah, that's kind of it for Gen 2. Not really a huge list. Tentatively on the list, I have 4. Um, the last one I didn't mention because I technically already did, which was Hitmonchan. So, or not Hitmonchan, Hitmontop, sorry. But, yeah. Anyways, we move on to Gen 3, which once again, not really a huge list in Gen 3, but, you know. Anyways, my first pick in Gen 3 is Sceptile. One of the reasons being the lack of grass starters, and that he's one of my favorite Pokemon ever, so I think he'd be a nice little fit. And, I mean, it is possible to put the same Pokemon from the same, like, starter set in the game. I mean, they already have Greninja Delphox, they're literally about to have, Inteleon Cinderace, and not to mention they already have all the starters from Gen 1 in the game too, so there's that. But yeah, I think Sceptile might be a nice little addition. Of course, being one of my favorites, it'd be nice to have him in the game as well, so, you know. Anyways, next up, I picked Aggron. I did kind of want a Steel type in there. I did want Metagross, but the thing is with Metagross, I think he might be a bit too wide for the game. I think if anything, he could be like, because I definitely know there's one thing, and is another reason why some other Pokemon aren't on this list, is that they definitely have they have another map that you can play. So if they ever decide to make another map, I can see Metagross more being a like small like a Dreadnought boss at the bottom. So there's that. So in that case, I kind of feel like Aggron would at least make more sense to put in, and especially with its first evolution, Beldum. It only really knows Takedown in the main game, so I don't know how that would really work in Unite, since normally like you always at least start off with 2 level up moves to start off, even before you evolve. So yeah, I don't know. So that's why I think at least Aggron might be a better choice. So yeah. Anyways, we go to the pre-pseudo-legendary of Gen 3, which is Salamence. Well, I mean, I say one of them. I literally rejected the other one. But at least Salamence makes a bit more sense. He is a bit popular. And at least with Bagon, he can learn two other moves before he evolves anyways. And they could do another creative thing, which I think like most of the time, like a lot of the Pokemon when they level up, especially the three stages, are all like close to the same. But since like it takes a bit longer to evolve to Salamence, maybe they might like up the levels to where they evolve later, which would be kind of cool. So there's that. And the next two, I guess you can kind of say, I picked Latias and Latios. Now, I know they're legendaries and mythicals, but like they're kind of like they're Zacian size, right? Like we can say that they're Zacian size, so I feel like it would be possible to have them in the game, like as playable. Plus, I think it'd be kind of cool to play as Latios. I mean, one of their moves could be like dragon. I want to say maybe like Dragon Breath or something, and then maybe like a Psychic move. Be kind of cool. Like, obviously, I know they probably play similar, but or maybe like if anything, Latias seems more of like the laid back kind of like Pokemon, like the one that would not get into a fight more often, which Latios looks more like he would want to be in a fight. So if anything, even like class wise, you could put them in different classes. Like Latias could be more of like a defender or a supporter, and then Latios can be more of an attacker type or whatever. Because there's like different like groups of Pokemon. There's like attacker, all rounder, supporter, speedster, and I want to say the green one's defender. I think, but I'm not sure. I don't remember all the names exactly, but pretty all right. The other thing I would say, I would like to have the Regis playable, but I don't think that's possible because um, in the second map, the Pokemon you fight in that map is literally like three Regis. Like you got Regigigas, which obviously I wouldn't have added him to the list anyways because he's too big. But like you have the other two, which is Registeel and Regieleki. So yeah, I just don't know if they'll add like the other three, which is like Regirock, Regice, and Regidrago, just because the other Regis are off doing their own thing. I feel like if they would add the Regis, they would try to add all of them at once. Well, not at once, but like, I mean, it might be still possible, but I don't know, honestly. But that's practically it for Gen 3. Now, my list for Gen 4 is kind of big. I'm more of a Gen 4 type of guy anyway, so I guess to kind of go through or get through this list a bit faster, I'm going to mention three of them at once, which basically in my case, I would just love all of the starters in Gen 4 to come out. Like, all of them are pretty good, and honestly, pretty amazing. If anything, if it just had to be like one of them to enter in, I feel like Piplup would be the better one to add in, or I think the more possible, I guess you could say, just because Piplup's more of a popular character in general, so like it would kind of make sense for Pokemon to maybe add in Empoleon, so pretty alright. But of course, we all know Infernape's definitely a very popular Pokemon as well, so I wouldn't count him out yet either as possible. If anything, Torterra would be the least likely, which is kind of upsetting that between the three, I feel like Torterra is like the least likable. I mean, don't get me wrong, people like Torterra. Like in my case, I love like the whole evolution process of Turtwig all the way to Torterra. Don't get me wrong, like I love all three starters, but I feel like out of everyone out there, I think Turtwig's probably like the least likely to be picked by people. But yeah. But if anything, like I said, I would like all three of them. I don't know if it would be possible, but yeah. If anything, I would like all the starters in the game. That'd be cool, but I don't know if they'll ever actually do that. That's the problem. But you know. Anyways, I guess I'll go another three here. They're not really like fully related, but I got Staraptor, Luxray, and Roserade. I feel like all three of them have a good chance to enter in. I think once again, like we don't really have much bird Pokemon in the game. I know I haven't really mentioned anything with like Swellow or Pidgeot or Noctowl, but if anything, if I had to have added another bird, Staraptor would definitely have to be it. Just because, well, I think honestly Staraptor's like my favorite like regional bird Pokemon out of all of them. He's just so badass looking. He looks so cool. And of course, Luxray and Roserade, I feel like would be a nice little addition too. I feel like it could be possible for them to be like random ads, because why not? So yeah, and once again, Roserade, poison type. But even though it's not really like known too much as a poison type, you can never have too many poison types, I guess. Especially since I think we only have two in the game right now, anyways. Same with grass types. Well, actually, no, we have more grass types. It's just grass starters, is what I'm thinking of. Anyways, the next Pokemon, I think it'd be kind of goofy if they decide to bring in Ambipom. I think that'd be a nice little choice, like a two-tailed monkey in the game. I'd like that. Honestly, like Ambipom's like probably one of my favorite Pokemon. I have a lot of favorite Pokemon, by the way, but I think like having Ambipom would be like pretty cool to have. Like if you want to make it more of like a special attacker, you can maybe do like Swift and Rock Throw maybe in there. Because I say Rock Throw because I do remember like an animation back in the original Poke Park where when you battle Ambipom in that, he literally throws rocks at you, so that might be a fun little gimmick that you can put in. So, there's that. Um, Next up would be Electivire. I think Electivire could have a good chance in there. I mean, if Infernape enters in, then maybe Electivire wouldn't be too far behind. I feel like Electivire would be a nice little addition. I don't think Electivire really gets a lot of love except for like in the anime, honestly. I feel like he gets shown up more in the anime than he does in like any other like game or anything. So, yeah. I mean, hell, I think in Scarlet and Violet, like he's not in the game yet. But I do know, like in Sword and Shield, like he wasn't first in the game, but it wasn't until the second DLC till he actually went in. Same with Magmortar, which I would put Magmortar in too, but I feel like we're almost at the point of too many fire types around. Which I know I mentioned like Ninetales earlier, but like I was more using that as a counter to normal or the Alolan Ninetales. And I do want to say for like any Pokemon I've mentioned that have like a regional form, like it could be nice to have them enter in as well. So like Alolan Golem, yeah. I don't think there's anybody else that I've mentioned that has a regional form. No. Well, actually, there's Muck. Muck's in there too, but that's it. I guess you could say the same with like Alolan Slowbro. And since Slowbro's in the game, maybe you can add in Slowking. I mean, you never know. The next Pokemon I would like to have is Togekiss, which I think some people pronounce it Togekiss. So I don't know. I just like saying Togekiss because that's what I've heard in the anime, so that's what I'm sticking to. But since Togepi was like somewhat of a known Pokemon in in the Pokemon anime with Misty, I think it'd be kind of cool to have like a little egg-shaped Pokemon in the game, and then it evolves into like. Honestly, I don't know what Togekiss is, but it. Plus, it's another like flying type mon would I can't speak, which would be cool to add. So yeah, I would like Togekiss to be in there. Another one would be Gliscor. Honestly, Gliscor also one of my favorite Pokemon ever. Like the combination of ground flying and just his design, it's just he's amazing. Honestly, like if I have a chance to catch a Gliscor in a game, I would. I would 100% would. He is amazing. And yeah, I mean he has a two-stage evolution. It'd be kind of cool to see him in the game. Maybe have him like flying around or something. That'd be cool. Anyways, I only have 3 left in Gen 4, which, yeah, like I said, I made my Gen 4 list pretty big. That's because I love Gen 4 mons. I tried to make it as small as I could, because obviously there probably would be more Pokemon I would like to see in the game, but, you know. Next would be Porygon Z. I think this one would be like a very interesting one to add in, especially since it's Porygon. I think I don't know. I just think it'd be interesting in general. That's all I could really say. I mean, obviously one of its like final moves as like a Porygon Z could be like Trio Attack, or maybe Trio Attack could be like its ultimate move. Since in that case, like with Trio Attack, I think that's what it's called. Um, it's a normal type move, but it has a chance to either paralyze, freeze, or burn your opponent. So it could like be an ultimate move, or it might put like a random effect on someone, and it may not even be the same effect. Like it could like spread around to like different effects. Like if you hit it on multiple Pokemon, so like say you hit two Pokemon, right? One could be like, well, I mean, I don't know, like maybe you could do like some type of effect on them in some cases. I don't really know really too much about effectiveness in the game, honestly. I just kind of play and whack and see what I can do. But you know, yeah. Anyways, next up would be Gallade. Now, I mostly added Gallade for one being a badass Pokemon in general, but the fact that we already have Gardevoir, if you're doing something like with Eevee and spreading out his evolutions, I think Gallade could be another good one as well, just because. So, yeah. And then next up is technically a mythical, and I guess you can kind of add in some other mythicals in here. But if there's one mythical I would like to add in, it would be Darkrai. Honestly, Darkrai is just kind of badass, and I feel like he could have like amazing moves and stuff in the game. It'd be cool, like just going around as Darkrai as well. Like honestly. Alrighty. Anyways, we're on to Gen 5, which I can kind of see it as a big list. Oh, I just realized something. I never added anything for Gen 6. I guess Gen 6 is perfect the way it is, apparently. But anyways, out of the Unova starters I would have in Pokemon Unite, I would pick Superior. And I've only really decided to choose Superior just because the lack of grass starters. That is exactly why I decided to pick Superior, at least. Samurott, I feel like, could have a good chance. Like, I was going with, like, the Hisui, like, idea. Which, now that I think about it, Decidueye is already in the game. They could add a Hisui Decidueye later down the road, too, so, But yeah, that's mostly why I added Superior. Also because, like, well, I don't even know what I'm saying. I chose... If anything, I do love all three of them. I will say that. Like, I was trying to say how I like all three of them, but if anything, I would want Superior and more, just because grass types. Plus, Snivy's kind of badass at the start, so, Alrighty. Next up is Escadrille. I think he'd be kind of cool to go around. We have Leavanny, because I don't think I've said too many bug types, so, there's that. And I'm kind of going brief now since we're already like half an hour into this, and I don't even know if I probably am over half my list now, but there's still quite a bit of Pokemon left to go. So, I will talk about this one a bit. Sorry if you heard my chair move, but I added in Crocodile because he's probably one of my favorite ground type Pokemon. Like, he is so cool looking. I like Crocodile. He would definitely be at least one of my, like, if anything, if there was like two Pokemon on this list that I would want in Unite the most, it would be Sceptile and Crocodile. Like, the only other two left, at least. I mean, I guess Infernape would be another close, like, third, but, yeah. Mostly just Sceptile and Crocodile. I feel like Archeops could be a goofy and fun one, especially since it's such an underrated Pokemon. Like, it's very strong and, in, like, its generation game, like, honestly. Reuniclus for Psychic type, and, I think it'd be cool. We got Hexorus, which is a very strong Dragon type. I feel like it'd be cool to add in. I added Beartic because I realized there was, like, a lack of, Ice types that I put on the list even, so... Plus, I don't really think there's that many Ice types beside, like, Alolan, Ninetales, and Glaceon, so, And then we kind of go into some mythicals. I did put like 7 technically in here because I have the Swords of Justice. So we have like Cobalion, Tracheon, and Virizion, and of course Keldeo. And if anything, out of these Pokemon, I feel like Virizion or Keldeo probably has more of a better chance to enter in. I don't know, maybe that's just my thinking just because of Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Gate to Infinity. Since you pretty much have, since Virizion and Keldeo are like main Pokemon in the story of that. But I don't know, I feel like, I just feel like also the style of game, it would make sense. But I wouldn't count out Tracheon or Crebalion from entering in as well. I also put the Weather trio in, Tornadus, Thundurus, and Landorus. I didn't add Pheromosis, I think the name is. It's like the fourth genie that gets added into Legends of Arceus because, well, it's not really the best design. But I could see like maybe one of these guys entering it, which would be kind of cool. So, yeah. So we're done with Gen 5, on to Gen 6. Done with Gen 6, off to Gen 7. I don't have anything for Gen 6. Just looking at the list, not too big. So anyways, another starter besides Decidueye I would like in is Incineroar, especially since they added him in Smash instead of Decidueye in like when the game came out. Like I feel like Incineroar might be a fun added one in there, even though we already have too many fire starters already. So yeah, you know. Next up is Lycanroc. Now it technically has 3 forms, but you could do like maybe like one Lycanroc to add in at one point, and then maybe have 2 others in later on. My favorite of the 3 is normally the Dusk form, but you know. Next up, we have Mimikyu. Kind of a goofy Pokemon I feel like could enter in, and I feel like it could have like a very badass Unite move, just for how like it looks and everything. So, you know. I have like 1 Legendary and 2 Ultra Beasts in here. Now, Ultra Beasts are possible because, well, Buzzwole's in the game, so, you know. But I decided to add Tapu Koko, and you could put the same in for any of the other Tapus. But I feel like Tapu Koko's like the main Tapu you kind of encounter, especially like within the games and of course the anime as well. So, yeah. And then the 2 Ultra Beast, well, no, I only have 1 Ultra Beast technically, and that is Naganadel, or how you guys like to pronounce it. But he's like that Poison Dragon Ultra Beast that Ash catches. I think he'd be kind of cool. I mean, I know he's pretty big, but maybe not. I don't know. And then we have Melmetal, which I think he'd be kind of cool. I mean, we haven't really seen much of Melmetal since Gen 8, so you know it might be a nice like little return for him. You know. Oh God, where's my voice? My voice is going. Alrighty. Next up is Gen 8, which, funny enough, I only have the 1 group here. Which, this is the fossil Pokemon in Gen 8, which, if you guys know, you kind of have like a mixture of 2 halves, which you have like an electric and water top half, and a dragon and ice bottom half, normally, which you have Dracozolt, Arctozolt, Dracovish, and Arctovish, which, honestly, out of the 4, I would like Dracovish to be entered in the most, just because he's so goofy and I love him. But all of them could have a good chance in there too. So, you know. Anyways, the next one is technically the last gen, which is Gen 9, which we don't really have any Gen 9 Pokemon in, but these are at least some Pokemon I feel like could enter in. And also because, yeah. So yeah, out of the starters, the one I think could have a good chance, especially as of recent, like if they want to add some Gen 9 pretty soon, I could see Meowscarada being in, since I feel like Sprigatito's definitely like started its popularity a lot more. But yeah, especially like I guess in style of Unite, I feel like it could enter in. I added Cloth because, well, I don't know, it's a goofy crab rock Pokemon. I feel like it could do some like fun things. Um, it could be either or both, but I put Armarouge and Shrooledge just because they're both like version exclusives in Scarlet and Violet. And, you know, I feel like they would be kind of cool to have both of them in. Like, you have their pre-evolve of them, and then they evolve into one of the 2. So, you know. And then the last 2, I put, like, King Gambit and Annihilate, which I think would be cool to see, like, Mankey, Ponyard, Bisharp, Primeape kind of running around, and of course added in with their final evolutions. Now that they have like another evolved form, so yeah, and that's technically my list of Pokemon I would love to see in Unite. I know like near the end I didn't really give too much of a good description, but you know. If anything, I'm starting to lose what I'm saying half the time too, because I swear I'm stuttering at some words. But yeah, that's technically the list of Pokemon. At least like most of them, I feel like I would want in Pokemon Unite at some point. So yeah, like I said, these are my own thoughts and my wishes. So they're not 100% confirmed or anything to be coming to the game. But these are just my own opinions, so, you know, if you get mad at my choices, if you don't agree with my choices, then that's fine, that's your own opinion, so, that's cool. Yeah, sorry, I know I was, like, I was rushing towards the end, but I just realized how much time is already passed in the podcast. Is this that I kind of wanted to speed up and get it through, since, hell, it might have taken more than 10 minutes, which I literally have to end the recording within 10 minutes, so yeah. But anyways, that's gonna cut it for this episode of Zawcasters. Hopefully most of you guys agree with some of my choices. I know there's some on the list I know I didn't put on the list, but I would still want as well, but, you know. Just my thoughts and some possible Pokemon to be playable in the game and everything, so, you know. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this, or listening to this podcast. If you guys liked it, press the like button or subscribe to whatever. And I'll see you dudes in the next podcast. See you dudes next time.